So this has been enhanced by the government of India, that is central government. We are going to use fuel, okay, so which is going to release the carbon or the toxic poisonous gases in the environment. This kind of plastic, it is going to cause a soil pollution, that we call it as a plastic pollution. It is going to safeguard the country in the national level as well as in the international level. Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. I am Mr. Hemant Kumar from the Department of Commerce and Management, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, MYSURU, the Temple of Excellence. In today's session, we are going with the subject Business Law, that is for 6th semester BBA students. Here we are in session 1 of Unit 5. It is about the Environment Protection Act 1986. Here we are going with the Environment Protection Act 1986, which are all the environment pollutants and also the pollutions. This is agenda of today's session. We are going with introduction to Environment Protection Act, the objectives of Environment Protection Act 1986, definitions of important terms. There are various terms according to Environment Protection Act that we are going with, and also the types of pollution, the powers of central government to protect the environment in India. So there are certain rules and regulations that is been formulated, and also there are certain responsibility of government of India towards protecting the environment that we are going to study further. Moving forward, introduction. So it is a brief introduction about Environment Protection Act. Okay, so what exactly the Environment Protection Act is and what it is going to do, why it has been formulated. The Environment Protection Act 1986 is a comprehensive legislation enhanced by the Indian government. So this has been enhanced by the government of India, that is central government, to protect the quality of the environment. Okay, so what it is going to do? First thing is it is going to safeguard the environment and also to improve the quality of environment. Not only safeguarding the environment is important, but also to develop or to improve the quality of environment is much more important. What activity it is exactly doing? The Act provides for the prevention, control and the abatement of environmental pollution. So here it is going to control the environmental pollution that has been caused by the industries, automobiles or any other source of the pollutants. Okay, so what happens? So not only in terms of air pollution, in terms of water pollution and in terms of noise and also sound pollution. Here it is going to prevent and also to control the pollution. There are certain rules and regulations that has been made by the Environment Protection Act regarding the control or the prevention of environmental pollution. The protection of forest and wildlife. So not only focusing on saving the environment, but also it is going to focus on saving the forest and wildlife. The Environment Protection Act 1986 establishes several regulatory bodies to monitor and enforce environmental standards. This includes, okay, so means it is going to establish a number of agencies which is going to safeguard or protect the environment or to maintain the environment in a clean and good manner. Okay, which are those agencies? One is CPCB. Okay, so that is Central Pollution Control Board at the national level. Okay, so Central Pollution Control Board, it is going to make certain rules and regulations. That is central, it is central office is located in New Delhi. Okay, so it is going to look after the pollutants which is going to cause pollution in our nation. Okay, so it is going to safeguard the people, safeguard the environment by the toxic poisonous gases or toxic poisonous substances which is going to cause the pollution. And in the same way, it is going to make certain rules and regulations which is been followed by the automobile and also been followed by industrialists. Next one is SPCB, that is State Pollution Control Board. Okay, so this is taking care of each and every state in India. Okay, so in Karnataka it is separate, in Gujarat it is separate, in Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, in all the state there is something called SPCB. It is going to take care of the state level. Okay, it have to maintain the proper environment, and in the same way it is going to safeguard the state from the pollutants, okay, which is going to cause the pollution by making restrictions, by making certain policies and the procedures which is must be followed by the citizens of the state. The Act empowers these bodies enforce pollution control measures, regulate industrial activities, and also to impose the penalties of compliance. Okay, so means these are the sectors that is been introduced by the state and the central government, which is going to look over the rules and regulations which is been strictly followed regarding the pollutants and the pollution, okay, to maintain a standard and also for the development of the environment in a particular state or the nation. The objectives of Environment Protection Act 1986. So when it comes in terms of Environment Protection Act 1986, there are certain objectives of the act which need to safeguard the environment for the future generation. Okay, saving the environment for the future generation. Number one is prevention and control of the environmental pollution. So here we are supposed to control the environment pollution. Not only controlling environment pollution is important, but also preventing the environment pollution is much more important. Just I give you the example. Okay, so here when it comes in terms of controlling the pollution, so we are going to use the automobiles, okay, so which is driven by the use of fossil fuels. Okay, so what happens, we are going to use fuel, okay, so which is going to release the carbon or the toxic poisonous gases in the environment. So what happens, we are supposed to use the automobiles which is going to release comparatively less gases in the environment. Means we are supposed to go with the emission test. Means it is compulsory nowadays for the emission test. Each and every year we are supposed to go under the emission test according to the state government rules. And prevention. So here what happens, if you undergo emission test also, there are certain gases that is been released by the automobiles. So what happens, instead of going with the automobile which is used by the burning fuels, okay, so we are supposed to go with EV. Okay, it is the best option when compared to automobiles which is driven by fuels. Protection of public health. So here not only safeguarding the environment is important, but also protecting the public health. Not only safeguarding the forest is important, not only safeguarding the surrounding environment is important, because whatever the things that we are going to do to safeguard the public health, that we are supposed to take the precautions. Okay, so what happens in most of the cities, most of the people, okay, so most of the polluted cities, whether it is Delhi or Bangalore, okay, so most of the people, they are facing the problem called asthma due to the pollution, okay, air pollution. Okay, so that is the reason to safeguard the life for the future generation. And also conservation of the natural resources much more important. Okay, so here conservation of the natural resource plays a vital role. We are not supposed to utilize complete resources. We are supposed to keep resource for the next generation as well. Okay, so here this plays a vital role. Promotion of sustainable development. So you people may be heard of the sustainable development. Okay, so we are supposed to save the resources for the future generation, not only utilizing the product, okay, but also we are supposed to save the things for the next generation. It may be coal, petrol, diesel, or any kind of the oil product. Public participation in environmental decision making. So the public also have a equivalent right to protect the environment and also to take the decision and also to develop the environment by planting the trees, okay, by taking the precautionary measures regarding the deforestation and these all things. International cooperation. So hence by taking these precautions, okay, so what happens, so we are going to save the resources, we are going to save the environment, we are going to safeguard the life of the people and also the animals. So what happens, so it is going to become a reason for the international cooperation in the national level. Definitions of important terms. There are few terms that is been given by the act. Okay, so we are going with the definition of a few terms. The first definition is about the environment. What exactly the meaning of environment according to Environment Protection Act 1986? The Environment Protection Act 1986 defines the term environment under section 2 subsection A as environment includes water, air and land. Okay, so as we know, so this environment consists of water bodies, land and air. And between water, air and land and human beings, other living creatures, plants, microorganisms and property. So here what happened, so there is a interrelationship or interlink between this water, air and land. Okay, there is no land without water, okay, no water without land, and in the same way no air without water and land have a inverse relationship. And in the same way, so it is going to safeguard the human beings, that is men and other living creatures. So whatever the living creatures that is available in the environment, plants, trees, okay, so and other creatures, microorganisms, okay, so also it is have to safeguard the microorganisms and property. Okay, so property is nothing but the surrounding environment which is available. Okay, so it is very precious. Okay, so in nature, once if we lose it, okay, so it is very hard to get back the same thing. Okay, it is very specious, so they had mentioned as a property. Okay, so here it is going to safeguarding these all things. Means if we protect the environment, so we are going to safeguard trees, we are going to safeguard humans, we are going to safeguard animals, microorganisms, and other living creatures. Means the only ultimate thing that we must know is we are supposed to save the environment. That is what the environment is about. Okay, environment consists of what? Water, air, and land, with humans, microorganisms, and other species. Environment pollutant. So this environment pollutant is nothing but the pollutant which is going to cause pollution in the environment, that we call it as a environment pollutant. The Environment Pollution Act 1986 define environment pollutant under section 2 subsection B. The environment pollutant means any solid, liquid, or gaseous substance. Okay, so any kind of the solid, liquid, or the gaseous substances present in such concentration as may be or tend to be injurious to the environment, that we call it as a environment pollutant. Okay, so whether it is a solid substance, liquid substance, or the gaseous substance which is going to pollute the environment or cause the pollution in the environment, we call it as a environment pollutant. Environment pollution. Okay, so what is environment pollution? Environment over, okay, which is surrounding us. Environment pollutant, it is going to say about the toxic poisonous gases that is being released. Okay, whether it is a solid, liquid, or gaseous substances. Okay, it's about environment pollution. So environment, according to the Environment Protection Act 1986, defines environment pollution under section 2 subsection C as environment pollution means the presence of environment of any environmental pollutant. If there is any environmental pollutant that is present in the environment, that we call it as a environmental pollution. So as we had learned here, pollutant, what is a pollutant? Which is going to cause the pollution. If there is a pollutant, so what happens? It is the pollution get happen. There is a difference between the pollutant and pollution. Moving forward, hazardous substance. So there are certain substances which is hazardous to the environment. What exactly the hazardous substance is about according to the Environment Protection Act? The Environment Protection Act 1986 defined the hazardous substance under section 2 subsection E as hazardous substance means any substance or preparation which by the reason of its chemical or physiological properties or handling is liable to cause harm to human beings, other living creature, plants, microorganisms, and property or environment, that we call it as a hazardous substance. So here, when it comes in terms of pollutant, whether it is a solid, liquid, or gaseous, it is physiological in nature. So means it have its physical existence in nature, which is going to affect on the surrounding environment, whether it is a humans, whether it is a plants, whether it is a microorganisms, or any other living creature, that we call it as a hazardous substances. It is very toxic in nature. Occupier. The Environment Protection Act 1896 defines occupier under section 2 subsection D as occupier in relation to any factory or any premises means a person who has control over the affairs of the factory. Okay, so means in each and every factory, in each and every manufacturing unit or the industry, so there is a person who have to take care of the pollutions or the pollutant that is being released, toxic substances that is being released from the industry. He is in charge of these all things. He have to take care of the quantity and the way how he have to release the toxic gases by the water, whether it is a contaminated water or whether it is a toxic poisonous gases that is being released in the air. Okay, so the premises and includes in relation to any substance, the person in possession of the substance. Okay, so there are certain substances, okay, so which is going to cause harm to the environment. Okay, so he have to avoid those all things, and in the same way, so he have to release in the right way, okay, at the right time. So what happens, he cannot release the toxic poisonous gases or the contaminated water inside the lake, ponds, and rivers. Okay, so there is a specific place which he had to be released. In the same way, here in the normal environment, he cannot release the toxic poisonous gases. Okay, so he have to release 300 feet more than the sea level. Okay, so that is a rules or regulations which must be followed by him. that we call it as a occupier. In every organization, there must be a occupier according to the state policy. The types of pollution. So there are various kinds of pollution. First one is air pollution. The toxic poisonous gases that is being released in the environment, we call it as a air pollution. Water pollution. So contaminated water or any toxic poisonous water that has been released in the ponds, lakes and rivers, which is going to cause water pollution, which leads for the death for the marine insects or animals. Okay, and also soil pollution. So what happens? So these three things are interlinked with each other. When air pollution happen, automatically it is going to affect on water. Okay, automatically it is going to affect on the soil. Just I will give you the example. Okay, so these are the hills. Okay, so what happens? It is a land. Okay, this is water. Okay, it is fully filled with water. Okay, so what happens? So if there is a air pollution which is going to happen, if the air get polluted, indirectly it is going to cause water pollution. When the water get polluted, surrounding land also get polluted. Okay, so air pollution causes water pollution. From the water pollution, all the complete land means soil pollution get happens. So let me take, okay, water get polluted. From the water, land get polluted and also the air get polluted. Hence, I can say three things are interlinked with each other, that is air pollution, water pollution and soil pollution. Noise pollution. So this is also very important thing that we need to consider. Noise pollution. Noise pollution can be caused by automobiles, it can be caused by the nuclear explosions, or it may caused by the industries. Okay, it is very bad for the human health. Thermal pollution. Okay, this thermal pollution can happen while testing the war equipments. If the war happens, okay, thermal pollution get happen, especially in the nuclear power plant explosion. Okay, so this thermal pollution get happen. Light pollution. It is a kind of a pollution that is going to happen by the light. So most of the times what happens in terms of a focused light, okay, so it is going to burn our skin directly or indirectly. It is also a kind of the pollution that is being made by the light. Radioactive pollution. So which has been caused by the radioactive radiation or waves. Plastic pollution. So there are certain plastic which is biodegradable and there are certain plastic which is not biodegradable, both degradable or non-biodegradable. This kind of plastic, it is going to cause a soil pollution, that we call it as a plastic pollution. Soil pollution. So as I said, so soil pollution, so this plastic pollution is going to cause the soil pollution and also it is very toxic in nature. The powers of a central government to protect the environment in India. So there are certain powers of central government. So it have a complete right to make rules and regulations, to create the procedures, okay, to safeguard the environment. Which are those powers? From Constitution of India. Okay, so there are certain powers that is been given by Constitution of India, not only to safeguard the environment but also to develop the environment. Okay, so if there is any forest fire, if there is any animals that is being killed, or if there is any loss of resources that is going to happen, so they are supposed to take the precautions to avoid those all things. And in the same way, so they have to go with afforestation. Okay, the number of the trees, availability of the trees, the number of the pure oxygen that is available in the particular geographical location, they are supposed to take certain precautions and work towards the development. Improvement environmental laws that is made by the central government. Okay, so there are certain environmental laws that is being made by the central government which must be strictly followed by the citizens or the inhabitants. Central institutions for the environment. If there is any problem which is going to happen for the environment, okay, so who is responsible for that? Central institution of the environment. So if anybody who is going to illegally causing pollution to the environment, illegally he is going to do unfair activities which is against the law, this is a party or this is the association which is going to take care of those people. Okay, means avoid those kind of illegal activities. International work. So it is going to safeguard our nation, it is going to safeguard the country in the national level as well as in the international level. Other powers, and also as I said, the central government also have the complete right, okay, to make new rules and regulations. In the next session we are going with part B. It is about cyber laws. Okay, so here as I said at the beginning itself, So this unit is classified into two categories. Okay, one is Environment Protection Act, second one is Cyber Law. Okay, in part A we had gone through the Environment Protection Act. Okay, this is part B. It is going to say about the cyber law. What exactly the cyber law is, which are all the things that we need to consider according to the cyber law. Thank you.